Hello, everyone. Welcome to this breakout session on Winning with CX, the new measures of CX success for telcos. I'm your moderator, Inderpreet from Twimbit, and I'm joined by our three speakers. Let me quickly introduce them to you. Sandra Zoysa, the Group Chief Customer Officer, Dialog Axiata. Vipin Sharma, Global Head of Products at Circles.Life, and Dhiraj Sharma, Senior Vice President, Technology and Automation for Reliance Jio. A very warm welcome to all of you, and thank you for joining us today. Before we just start the session, let me set a quick context to the session. APAC industry grew 6% year on year. Last year, perhaps, the kind of growth telcos have not seen over the prior years. Tens and millions of customers started working from home, consuming more and more data and voice services. Yet, what stood out is our engagement with digital platforms. We were streaming more videos, we were shopping more online, we were studying online, and even we were connecting for medical care through the telehealth platforms. One thing is for sure that we are now into an era where the customer interaction is a digital first, and this is likely to stay so for the coming years. But what does it mean for telcos? How do they change their strategies, their customer measurement scores, keeping this transition in mind? Let's hear from our panelists. To start off with, I'll probably quickly ask Sandra. Sandra, how do telcos measure customer success today? And how do you think the new customer success measures are coming into picture with this transition? Are we going or looking beyond CSAT and NPS, looking at measures such as customer effort score, customer engagement rates? How do you see it happening within Dialog and your perspective on the industry?
Um, Hi, everyone, and thanks for that question, Inderpreet. I think it's a good question and a good start to our session. Yeah, I mean, NPS is still very relevant, I'd say, particularly if you are measuring touchpoint NPS, that gives you a good feel on the complexities across different touchpoints now. So when we look at touch points, we look at our traditional touch points, which are available to, let's say, non-smartphone feature phone users. And then we have a set of digital and social touch points as well. So across these, we'll still find that touch point NPS is one that's still valid, that gives us immediate feedback, and we understand how our interactions are going with our customers. We do a relative NPS or a market NPS, which is done, of course, by an independent party every quarter or so, and then we tabulate those results to get a view of not just the touch point, but Dialog as a company and as an overall. We also do net easy score, and this is just to try and figure out the effort that the customers have to go through when they're interacting with Dialog. We also look at uh, the newest one in this is the trust score. So we also have a net trust score, NTS. And this is very important to us because it gives us the sentiment analysis on trust and transparency and how our customers feel about us. Apart from that, we also look at employee engagement as well as employee effort. So we have employee effort, employee engagement, and just like for our customers, we also have an employee NPS. So we look at it in terms of customer NPS and effort, employee NPS and effort, and in our ecosystem, we also have partners and vendors. So annually, we also conduct an NPS, partner NPS as well. So these are the measures I'd say we have. Apart from that, we've recently introduced happiness index as well. So yeah, so those are the measures that we kind of look at. Of course, we still continue to do CSAT, DSAT, because we need that information to take immediate action on the feedback that we get from our customers. So we still continue to do those and still continue to measure service levels at, say, the frontline service stores or our contact center.
That's interesting. A very interesting perspective, and particularly with keeping Sri Lanka as a market in mind. I mean, you have to balance between both feature phone users and smartphone users. You cannot entirely transition so simply into a digital first world. Let me bring Vipin in there. For a market like Singapore, perhaps, is it a different story there?
It's not. In fact, I was smiling when Sandra was talking about it, because those are exactly the way those are exactly the metrics that we also focus on, and also the way we look at it, right? So Sandra talked about external customers and internal and employees, and I would say for a business, you know, employees are internal customers, right? So the way you measure NPS and effort score for external customers, same way we need to also look at our own internal employees as well to see how their happiness index is. And some of the things that Sandra talked about: happiness index, trust score, touch, various touch points at which we measure things. Those are precisely the things that we are also looking at. One thing though we have, I mean, just to build upon this, right? One thing that we have seen in the past is that while we measure these metrics, it's super important to also relate these to the actual business outcomes. Like for example, if NPS goes from 20 to, let's say, 35, uh, what moves for a business metric? How does it impact retention? How does it impact referrals, or average revenue coming in per customer and things like that, right? What's the relationship between these? So the only thing I would want to add from a Circles Life point of view is that we've also figured out I mean, as precise or as much we could model the relationship between these customer experience metrics and the business outcomes. So we know that um, for a certain movement in NPS or for a certain movement in CES, how much does it impact the retention, the referrals, the average revenue per user? And if you don't do a good job, how does it impact our word of mouth and things like that? So uh, also put in some data science into this to sort of perfect the relationship, because when you make business decisions at a CXO level, some of these relationships help in prioritization of our new initiatives. So that's the only thing I would want to add to that.
Thank you so much, Vipin. So, from a customer platform or a digital platform, I think we've heard part of it from Vipin and Sandra. Dhiraj, of course, the network has to transform. Uh, Technologies like AI or data analytics and everything has to go within the infrastructure so that a network issue finally does not become a customer issue. So, your perspective on that?
I think taking it forward. So I think NPS, she said, maybe they are the outcomes we will measure. But how do we enable in the technologies? And specifically, I'm just discussing on the enterprise and the fixed broadband area, which I've been driving personally. So there, I think the four pillars on which we have been working, and which is the key pillars are there. If the customer having the perception, and how do we see that perception is actually real or it is not the real, and how do we ensure that is translating into the quality of services, and the perception is translated into the measurable parameters, so that we are able to bring out the customer happiness with a better KPIs and a better QS monitoring. That's the one pillar is there. The second pillar is there in the today digital world. So the platforms are very, very critical. So how do we ensure that we are having a very intelligent and the smart operations? So before the customer calls, we should be able to analyze and able to see where the issues are there. And because post pandemic area, we have seen the even a downtime of 2 hours is also becoming a critical for the customers. So people are expecting what we used to having a maybe a couple of years back, enterprise grade of services and the retail grade of services. I think that area is now no more there. Everyone wants the maybe 100% uptime, not even 99.9. So with that kind of challenges coming up, so I think the platforms and system has to be in the next generation in terms of the capability, in terms of the measurability, in terms of the real time action. So there is the old systems of the ticketing, and the ticket goes from here to here and takes days to handle those tickets are gone. So it's a real time. If there is a issue come, then it goes direct to the doer, and person is able to work on that and then able to start working on that. And that translates into, if the we are able to having a the earlier detection than the user, then it will able to reduce the call center load or the back office load, because otherwise the back office lot of calls are coming up, and the back office is not having intelligence, and they are just taking the calls and then transferring to the various people, and it's going from buckets to buckets. So with the digital operation, with the intelligent operation, with the artificial intelligence and the machine learning and the big data, these three things on which we have been building out and largely successful, and then we are further transforming it to the next level. We are able to see a good means the reduction of the time from hours to minutes, because the entire cycle of the manual is going to the is automated. And that's the second thing is there. So if the call center tickets are reduced, the customer is having a complete information available on his either a mobile or his information is available. So he knows there is a problem, and the problem will be attended in 2 hours time, 3 hours time. He will not be calling unless and until the team is not able to handle the calls in 2 to 3 hours. So I think that way reducing the call center, reducing the operation, and then fourth thing is there. The fourth pillar is there. All these things also we have to bring into the efficiency in in the field level, because finally these tickets are going to the field, whether it's a field operation, is the customer operation, how fast we can react. And the second thing, how redundant calls or redundant field visit we can avoid. So I think with the automated operation, we are able to see the 90% of the tickets or the problems we are able to detect proactively. It means there is no need to having a truck over. Otherwise, the field team is going to the customer end, and he doesn't know what is happening in the background in the system and the technology. He's not, because he's only seeing the customer facing part only, but he doesn't have the complete visibility. By giving him the complete knowledge and complete information on a proactive basis, and we are able to reduce a lot of field visits and reduce the increase the efficiency. I think these four pillars are the one which is not a directly, but unless and until these things are there in today's world, getting a CSAT, getting the NPS as an outcome is not practical. I think these are the four things as an operator, as a part of the digital platform enablement, and the automation is the one I think we think is the key pillars for bringing the customer experience to the next level.
Dhiraj, is that about self-healing autonomous networks?
Yes, including that part. So self-healing, self-diagnostic means the self-healing wherever possible, wherever self-healing is not possible, empowering the customer and the field teams for doing the diagnostic and doing the remote troubleshooting, remote fix, and then if knows, then it go to the level. But I think we are able to see like 90% of the people are things are able to handle by the with the self-healing or the customer level operations, and only few things are now coming to the back end. It is the one which is able to bring down the efficiency as well as the customer happiness in a big way.
Okay, that's very interesting. Perhaps, connecting the customer facing tools with the network tools, so that even people who are sitting at the customer front, they have a visibility of what is happening at the back end, and then in a way enhance or improve the services for your customers. um, and as you mentioned, Dhiraj, this is happened over the past 2 years. Everyone wants everything um, right there, right now. Um, there is no distinction as such between serving a retail customer or an enterprise customer. So I'll bring it back to, what would be the biggest CX successes for you and your teams over these past 2 years, given, there's so much transition that has happened in the industry. Sandra, I'll probably, again open with you.
So I think the customer experience transformation program, that Dialog, as well as all of the Axiata, the regional footprint, all of the companies within Axiata started out some 5, 7 years ago. Um, was really, really helpful in terms of, it was a culmination of the real test when it came to the COVID pandemic. Because if we hadn't done all of that work and all of that preparation over the previous 5 years, getting the tools, the platforms, the organization, the people, the mindset, the culture, as it were, ready, and the painful process of looking at simplifying the existing current processes, and then understanding what the ideal would be, and then looking at digitizing, and automating what's possible after having simplified the process, and really focusing on customer journey mapping. So right now we're implementing a customer journey orchestration tool as well. So for me, customer experience now is so much about looking at all our customers' journeys. And previously, we would have been doing it, we were doing it on a sort of sample basis, looking at the journeys. Now we're in a position to look at journeys, 100% of the journeys, through the orchestration tool, and to try and understand where there's difficulty and gaps, as well as test it out in a way that if we change something, is that actually making it better and more frictionless and more seamless, or is it making it, you know not that great? So we are able to do all of that. And for me, so what's big has been the whole transition to looking at end-to-end journeys, really focusing on taking off, really focusing on making sure it's quick, fast, simple, easy, and pleasurable to interact with. Um, the organization. So that area is one. So it's actually, I would say, our digital transformation, customer experience digital transformation program. The we follow the Frost and Sullivan, digital customer experience index. And for me, what's really fantastic is of the journey we've followed over the last 3 to 4 years. We are now at level 5. So through this whole process, you go through this process of going from unaware to being a novice to an evolving stage, and then to a driving stage, and of course then to a leading. So it's an L5, and at a leading stage you are looking at a digital centric organization. You're looking at digital intelligence like AI, and having cognitive technologies in place, self-managed, real-time connected business functions, even looking at the environment we operate in, which is digitized, intelligent, OSS, VSS, and of course customer engagement in real time, programmable and controllable functions that Dhiraj talked about, and really, being able to give our customers that choice. So this, I think, for us has been like the biggest success, that we were not too stressed out. Of course, in the first week or two, when we had to completely in lockdown, completely start working from home, that was quite stressful because we also had in our contact center desktops. Suddenly, we had to replace all the desktop with laptops, and then suddenly there was not enough laptops with the vendors, for instance, to buy all the accessories we needed, headsets, laptops, and so on. So that was a bit of a stress. But once we had figured all that out, life became wonderful, actually. Myself, I haven't gone back, although I can and I should. I haven't gone back to work either. After 2 years, I prefer to work from home because it's just convenient. I now go into the office when there's like social stuff, someone's birthday we're celebrating, or that kind of thing, not for really work, because work's become easy that way. So with that, I think I should say that the 25 years that Dialog has been operating in Sri Lanka, we had the most profitable year last year in the entire 25 years. And that speaks for something, as to how well, everyone was geared up and ready. And when they had to show up, they actually did that. And it kind of really worked out well. So those are two things. And the third, of course, is the fact that, we've kind of got people, um, to to encourage people actually to make a shift in terms of their knowledge and upgrading their skills and knowledge. So everyone's able to understand insights. Everyone's able to use data. Like one of the things I'm doing in the contact center and the front line are kind of enabling non-tech people to really take up technical topics and to upgrade their knowledge. So really, I've actually, for you're probably familiar with BCS, which is the British Institute for IT for the char. So what I've done is I've actually taken on authorized, training partner kind of position. And I'm just training up all my frontliners in, they're doing foundation at the moment, though they have UI, UX, data analytics type of, subjects. And then they will go up the ladder. And myself, I did the same for myself over the last 2 years. So I'm now a fellow of the Chartered Institute of IT, BCS. So, my vision for my organization staff and, my own employees is that it's no longer good enough to just be a frontliner and have soft skills and have appreciation for resolving customer complaints. You really, really have to get the IT piece going as well, so that you can have a conversation which is understood by the tech counterparts. But more than that, because you need to transform, you need to take off a load from them. You don't need to run to them for everything. Do it yourself. Get them to enable the tools platforms, but for the most part, do it yourself. So I also have currently a few people who started off as frontline contact center associates some years ago, but they've actually completed their data scientists now. I've even recruited, a couple of techies, so they work in my team, like a CIO. So I have my own CIO, my own data scientist inside the frontline customer experience team. So I'd say those are our successors, and I like the way it's going, because we are in the front seat now, and we understand, what needs to come, and we can have those great conversations with the rest of the organization, and everyone's supportive, and yeah, we're doing our thing. It's great.
That's interesting, Sandra. I think you alluded as to two key points here. One is on the customer journeys, and then making those customer journeys digital end to end. And the second thing, you've alluded about the skills, how the skill set has to change. Perhaps you just answered my next question, on what sort of skills and changes you need to bring in from a people perspective. But let me just pass that on to Vipin here. Vipin, Circles.Life is from day one, it has focused on customer journeys, not just that, end to end digital customer journeys. What is your experience there?
Yeah, from the beginning, right, our mission has been to give power back to the customers and make sure that our customers are always in control. So, from a customer experience point of view, what that means is let's do the best we can to offer frictionless interactions and also delight our customers as much as we can. So, when you look at frictionless interactions and customer journeys, looking at end to end, um, you know, as Sandra said, uh, making a sort of a giant leap in any kind of domain or any kind of initiative is not possible without having a uh, very focused, like a squad kind of program and a sort of team that works together on it. So we put all our best minds and efforts on improving customer experience, and in the results in the last 2 years, uh, despite all this noise and disruption that is happening in the world, we've been able to achieve a lot. So, for example, on the frictionless journeys, um, our focus has always been to target zero customer support required. Customers should not be needing to reach out to us. We can when they reach out, we'll support them as much as we can. But the idea is they should not be reaching out to us in the first place, because everything should be as intuitive as possible. So 100% self-serve has been our sort of primary winning attribute throughout. Um, so our efforts on digitization, automation, and optimizing for all the contactless operations has led to really reducing our customer tickets and interactions by almost 80%. And in last 2 years, a loss of sorry a drop of cost to serve customers by 80%, 80, is a very significant achievement that our team has had. We've also put in machine learning driven sort of dynamic experiences when we are serving through either chatbots or very personalized FAQs based on what the customer might be looking for and things like that. So all that has also reduced has improved our customer effort score by almost 50%. Our mean time to resolution has gone down by 40%. So a lot of this, a lot of this goodness has come in from a frictionless experience perspective. And on the other side, in delight factor, because we are looking, as you said, we are looking at experience end to end. We have driven the we have driven the entire set of interactions to make sure that everything is delightful, personalized, and sort of frictionless. So our NPS has gone up big time. We are 40 to 50 above the next telco market. In the markets that in all the markets that we work in, uh, our CSAT has gone up from lower 90 to all the way to 97%. So some of those things have worked a lot. And as you said, we are 100% digital, so our app experience means a lot. So our app rating in all the markets has jumped from 4.2, 4.3 to all the way to 4.9 now in some of the markets that we work in. So yeah, feel good about all the initiatives, and just like in Sandra's case, it's possible only when all the functions come together and not just one department to make it happen.
I think Vipin brought in a very interesting point on personalization at scale. Dhiraj, anything from the technology perspective that has to change here? Any views from you on that?
Yeah, I think most of the point have been covered by Sandra and Vipin, but I will just stress on a little deeper on the automation side. So I think what we have seen in the last 2 to 3 years, where we have started this transformation for the customer experience. One is the definition of the customer experience. Earlier, we used to do the customer experience post facto, means when we see the problems and then we start implementing the some customer experience tools and systems and all. Now we have started doing any new products which is coming up with the customer experience tools, systems, automation is a part and parcel of the product launch itself. Because later on, when the product is gone into the market, and then fixing all this issue become difficult, because from a data integrity point of view, system point of view, modeling point of view, it may not support, then it becomes difficult to implement that, and it's challenging. But if the any new product coming up is having the customer experience very well defined for any product, and with all the tools and systems available, then I think from the day one, the people having all the capabilities and at all levels, and that becomes easy to then make it evolve over a period of time, and then it is a better thing. So that creating a different culture across all the teams, because every team has been discussing about their own function rather than saying the customer as a okay, how the customer will be seeing at the journey. So first the customer they first. So all the things looking from the customer perspective, defining all the journeys from the customer's standpoint, and then making it available as a part of the product launch, and also testing it and then correcting it. I think that has been a huge change, and in the psychology of the all the people, and that transformation is I would say is the most critical transformation, is the people mindset and the people transformation.
Definitely.
And the second point is there, then we also have seen now when we have this transformation, so there is a need to having a different people or reorientation of the people. Like our network used to be very conventional network engineering teams. So now we have to see people how they see the APIs, how they see the policies, how they see the algorithms. So the people who are having a more IT savvy or more maybe capabilities, they are groomed to understand the algorithms and the APIs and the policies, so that they know how their role will be also important for the enabling the automation of this the customer experience and the overall journeys. Then the application orchestration point of view, the different engineers are required, data science and data analytics are there. So we have also embedded now the data scientist in almost every function, because every function has to see their own data available. If the data is not there, all the customer experience tools and systems cannot be managed. So everyone is looking into their data, and the data scientists are embedded, and then who are ensuring that the data is proper, right, corrected, and it is the right models are there, and then it can be integrated with the various the customer journey and the customer network journeys. And similarly, in the field side also, we have tried to see the people earlier everyone was having their own SLAs, the SLA of the fiber, SLA of the tower, SLA of the radio. So similarly, everyone is having their own SLA, but nobody was looking at a SLA, what is the actual customer downtime, what customer issues are there. So customer SLAs are critical than any individual or the silo SLAs are there. So the people are being repurposed. Their responsibility is not their own individual SLA. They have to see what is the revenues are there, what is the roles and responsibilities are getting defined from the customer centric SLAs. And that is another mindset transformation of the people who have been working for years and years like us, and changing our own mindset and pushing the entire organization to go in that mindset based on the tools and system transformation has been another challenge. And similarly, in the field where the thousands and thousands of people are working, and they have been working in it maybe without any application, without any systems and tools, bringing them into the digital tools, and it was a big challenge pushing them. But after the push, maybe it was a 1.5 year of the push, and now we are able to see the very positive result, and we are able to see a lot of I would say convergence of the teams at a field level. And also we are able to see a lot of things are possible to outsource, and we are able to outsource. And with the outsourcing, with the contractors coming in place, because the contractors knows that they are getting a task on the application, whether it is a putting a site A or site B or activity type A or type B, the people, we are able to see a good leverage of this application and the tools at even the field level. So we are able to see at a central level the people who enable the entire business transformation and the customer experience transformation, what type of changes are required in their mindset and the people and the skill set. That was the initial barrier. Then the barrier was to the next layer, the people who are the leaders, how they look the entire transformation, and how they reorient and their responsibilities and their the measurement part. And then third, there was the field where we are able to see a lot of convergence and a lot of I'm saying aggregation of the activities, because of the one person can do multi-skill and multiple activities and within his knowledge domain. And we have seen because most of the intelligence coming in the back end, the activities in the field is very simplified and very unitized, and that is able to give us a lot of the operational benefit, manpower benefits, outsourcing benefits, and skill set reduction benefits. So these are the things which are there on the workforce. When we see the workforce model, what type of workforce are going to change for this transformation. And that was, I think, that was the major time, I think most time we have taken to at least build in the last 2.5 years. And now the next step, what we are doing it after achieving this, now we are able to see what type of this customer experience is a continuous process, evolving process. What type of activities are required to make it a next generation customer experience. So in terms of the teams, so whether we are having enough data scientists, enough modeling people, enough analytics people, enough UI UX people, because they are very critical from the IT workforce who enables this customer experience and customer experience journeys. That was the one critical on which we have been evolving, and that also required a lot of transformation of the, like Sandra also touched, the OSS BSS stack. So conventional OSS BSS stacks are pushing us to change them, because they require also transformation. Customer experience transformation without having the tools transformation is also not practical. So it is also pushing us. One is whatever we can build on the existing OSS that we are doing, we are continue to do. But at the same time, if we have to go a next level, then it require maybe the backend also need to be fixed. Then OSS BSS stacks also to be changed. So we are doing a lot of transformation on the OSS BSS stacks also, and a lot of things are being done in house, because uh, no tools can meet the requirement of any operator. So if we have to meet the best experience to the customer, then I think a lot of capability has to be built in house. So a lot of tools or the missing part of the OSS-based stack is being done in house. So I think that's the I think the major activities, I would say it has been done in the last 2 years, uh, seeing the customer requirement and the customer expectation also coming to the next level. So I think this is the thing from my side.
Wow.
I think we are hearing very interesting views there, and it's a very, very engaging conversation here. But we are almost to the end of our session. I personally don't want to end it. I'm enjoying listening to you guys. But on the last note, quickly, Vipin and Sandra, what do you see next on customer innovation or innovation in CX? Quickly wrapping up with your thoughts.
So actually, for me, I think just continuing on this trajectory that we are on is what it is, and innovation in terms of everything, not just tools and platforms, but to really mindset is what's the greatest. So I am actually now involved in organizational culture transformation program, and that's not led by HR. Typically, it would be, but it's not, because the culture that we want for the organization is a service culture. So it's actually service oriented mindset and a service oriented DNA. To that, the other part of it is that we want all our employees within the organization to be, tech savvy, and to be, digitally savvy themselves, to live and think to adopt the digital lifestyle that we want our customers to adopt. So what we've really done is to kind of, well, at least for myself, my aspirationally, what I want is a complete shift of mindset to be able to kind of institutionalize the philosophy of customer experience and what that means for the organization, and to get away from the silos, to get away from structures that we have, and to kind of have a very fluid kind of organization, which understand the purpose of journeys and how we all fit in. So for us, the way we work, we've changed now, um, in that every single team has different people from different portfolios. So in any project, so we look at all the difficulties we have, and take them on as projects. And that can be network related, customer related, market related projects. And you'll always find IT people, engineering people, legal sometimes, because we need their support as well, customer experience, marketing. So it's like every team has one each, two each, a UI UX person. It's like wonderful the way that works, because you do something, you achieve something, you leave it behind, and then you're on to something else. So it's kind of fluid organization, I'd say, is what it is. And it's been amazing to, so actually, even some of the projects which are on the field technical team side, which is tech driven, I get to say, for one of the projects I lead, but the guy who's really actually on ground and doing all of the stuff is a whole technical team. But I get to advise him, as it were, and on top of it, so that they all get orientated towards what's the customer, what do I understand, and then they go back and do their work. So we've been able to train people in customer journey management, NPS, and how to measure, and so I see this whole convergence between tech and non-tech people, and completely adapting the kind of mindset of each other to have appreciation for what we do. So it's just been wonderful that way. And I'd say most innovation is about this innovation in the mindset, because obviously technical stuff will anyway do, right? We're always thinking about it. That's fundamental to the way we operate. Yeah, so I'd say really that is the piece that we are focused on, so that everyone can infuse, bringing, I would say, man and machine together, and everyone can infuse tech into their way of life.
All right. Yeah. Before we finally conclude, in a minute, Vipin, your final thoughts.
Yeah. And Sandra, thanks so much for talking about the kind of things you're going to make happen in your company, because there are clearly a lot of learnings there for us as well, and there's something to take home for us as well. On the other side, from an external customer perspective, for us, I think what we realize is that there's a wealth of data that's available. So about the customers, on the background, the preferences, etc. So there's a great opportunity to take full advantage of this gold mine that's there, and takes customer experience to the next level with personalization, data analytics is how we see it. So boosting our data analytics capabilities, and harnessing sort of predictive insights, to really connect more closely with our customers and anticipate their behaviors, identify some of the issues that may happen, and fix them in real time. Like some of the examples that we just talked about, um, from a system and platform point of view, we really want to take it to the next level on that aspect as well, and do all of that in real time. So issues is one thing, but also look at opportunities on giving more value to the customer, uh, offering lot more to the customer for the dollars and the money they pay us for the services and products. So that's primarily we are going after, and with 5G, sort of ramping up, it gets really really interesting in the kind of things that we can do. So yeah, that's the sort of focus areas for us, set of focus areas for us in the next year or so.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dhiraj, Vipin, Sandra. It was a very engaging conversation. And perhaps, even telcos know that the next frontier for them is acing the customer experience. If the revenues or the top lines are not growing much, if there is so much competition, and if there is so much commoditization of basic data or voice, how do we differentiate? I think CX has to lead it for all of the telcos. So thank you with these engaging thoughts, and we go back and join the main session. Thank you, everyone.